Hi, everyone. I'm Father Scott Vanderveer, and I am thinking a lot now about packing and moving. I'm thinking about possessions because I have been asked by the bishop to go to St. Mary's Church in Glens Falls in September. And so as I look around here at the day of this filming, it's August 1st. I'm looking in both of the rectories here at St. Patrick's in Ravenna and St. Mary's in Cooksaki. I'm looking in the offices. I'm looking in my apartment here in Cooksaki, and I am looking at things with the thought, are you going to come with me or are you going to stay here? For priests, many of the things that we possess actually belong to the church. So those vestments, those robes that you see me in on the weekend, some of them are mine. They were given to me as gifts when I was ordained, but many of them belong to the church. Here at St. Mary's, I'm wearing many of the same vestments that Father Moyna wore because many of them were purchased by parishioners in memory of someone they love who has died. And so those items will stay here with the church where that memory is held. The same thing is true about my residence in the sense that Father Moyna bequeathed it to me with some furniture. I sleep in the bed that he slept in. I sit on the couch that he sat on. My bookshelves are the ones that he left me. They were purchased with parish money, some of them perhaps by him during his 29 years here as pastor, but many of them probably by long ago pastors. Some of them maybe by Father Tartaglia, others by Father Phibbs. Some of the things that are in the St. Patrick's rectory in Ravenna might have been purchased by Father Ciatoli or maybe even by Father Gerzone. So it's true that when a priest looks around at the dwelling that they've been living in, many of the things are, this rug I brought, so it's mine, this will need to go, but that chair isn't, and that bookcase isn't. And of course, the real home that we have, these beautiful churches that we treasure, they stay here. It's one of the things that's sometimes a little bit hard for us, actually. It's a little bit emotional at times for us to recognize that this is where things stay. It's a bit difficult sometimes to let go of an altar that I've just loved celebrating Mass at, or an ambo that's the perfect height for preaching, or a presider's chair that just is wonderful. But of course, that goes with the vocation. We come in a bit like hermit crabs. You know, we've got these little soft bodies that come into the church that we have been assigned to, and we fill that shell, we fill ourselves in that shell and try to, give it our own personality. But when the time comes for us to go on our way, like crabs, we kind of slither out of that shell and very vulnerably go to find the new shell that awaits us. But even though much of my furniture will stay, many of the fixtures, even that I wear, will stay here, there's still the fact that I'm an American and I have so much stuff. And I'm an American who went to college for a total of about 10 years. I went to undergrad for 4 years at St. Bonaventure, and I got a whole bunch of books from that, from my time studying journalism. Then I went to Boston College and I got a degree in religious education, a master's in religious education. So I have tons of books and binders from that time. And then of course, all those binders and books I have from being a teacher for 7 years. And then I went to the seminary for 4 more years. So the books, the binders, for me, that's an awful lot of what I've got, books and binders. Never mind the fact that I also have all sorts of collections, like a shampoo cap collection. It's very functional. It's just, anytime I have a really nice cap on a bottle of dishwashing liquid or shampoo, I keep it so that if another cap breaks or if I buy something with a crummy cap, I'll be able to replace it. Do I bring that with me? Do I bring the old, not so nice arrow bed that I've had for years that I never used my entire 6 years here? Should I bring that along, or should maybe I donate that? I've got so many kitchen items that I never used while I was here. Never used. I have a mandolin, you know, that thing that is so sharp. Most people who've used one are either missing a digit or have a horror story where they had to go to the emergency room right before the dinner party. I've never used it, and maybe I never will. So one of the frameworks I'm trying to use spiritually as I get ready to move, and that might be helpful for you depending on what's going on in your life, because all of us have a relationship with things and we have to manage it. The thing that I am going through right now is a quote from Thomas Merton, the great Trappist monk and writer, who asked one day, are you going to spend the rest of your life carting around treasures from the past? Or are you going to live lightly so that the real treasure can be inside? I love everything about that question. Are you going to spend the rest of your life triggers you to say, wait a minute, how strong a pattern is this? Am I committed to this forever? Are you going to spend the rest of your life carting around, sounds like a burden, carting around treasures from the past? Treasures. Did you hear that? Treasures. Are you going to spend the rest of your life carting around this book that you read and loved, that you just think the world of, that you have so enjoyed savoring and passing on to others? Are you going to spend the rest of your life carting around that book? Or are you going to live lightly so that the real treasure will be inside? I think it's so helpful to name that the things we're carting around are not junk. You know, sometimes people will say to us, you don't need all that junk. Get rid of that junk. Anything that doesn't fit into a Chevette, just get rid of it. Well, not much fits into a Chevette. Those cars don't even exist anymore. Maybe a Yaris is what I should have said. But forgive me, I'm a child of the 70s. So whatever can't fit in a Chevette, you should get rid of? Well, a lot of the things that can't fit in there are treasures, like the snowshoes that were purchased for me by Anna Scalzo, one of the holy women in Ravenna who I got to know at the end of her life. Those snowshoes she bought for me when I was brand new so that I would learn to love and appreciate the Catskills. I've used them every winter. They remind me of her, and they connect me to so many fun memories. I'd used them just this past season in like a blizzardy day, freezing cold, with my friend Father Brian Slezak. I don't want to throw those out of the Chevette just because they don't fit. I love that what Thomas Merton is saying is the things that you have are treasures. Don't discount them, don't disrespect them. But recognize that treasures though they are, you may not wish to spend the rest of your life carting them around. Because after all, we're all going to go through an exit called death that you can't bring anything with you through. Even our bodies until the end of time. Our bodies will stay here and we will go forward. So if we're going to get ready for that exit that is so tight that not even our bodies can fit through it, it's almost as if we recognize, we go early through our life with like an upside down triangle where the amount of things at the top that we think are really important are wide and vast and numerous. And as you go down through life, down through that triangle, you start to realize that very little matters until you finally get right down to the apex, which is at the very bottom when the triangle's upside down. And there's only enough room for you, for your soul, for your essence, for you. So if I'm going to use my move wisely, I might see it as an opportunity to do some spiritual cleaning up, to stop believing wrongly that my treasures need to be guarded, that because they've been treasures, I need to keep them for life. I have the opportunity to see this a different way. It's reminded me of a couple of things that I've heard over the years. One of them is from the famous Marie Kondo, who is the organization expert from Japan. She talks about trying to figure out if the object that you're holding gives you great joy. To put all of the things that you own in front of you, and then to take them one by one and say, does this provide joy for me, or is it a burden? I think that that's a great framework to use. But there are others. I remember 20 years ago, perhaps it was on the Oprah Winfrey Show, there was an organizational expert who made this recommendation that I've never forgotten. They said, take all of your possessions that you're not sure if you can get rid of or not, and put them together in a box, or in boxes, if you're most of us, unmarked. Tape those boxes up and just put the date on them. And put them in a place where you will not look at them or think of them for a while. If you come across that box and the date that you wrote on it is a year or more ago, get rid of it without looking at what's inside. Only the boxes that you ripped open to get into because those things really mattered, only those are the things that you should keep. If you found yourself really needing that thing that was in the bottom of the box, and so you ripped through everything to get it, well then keep that. But if that box has gone unopened, or if you have never in an entire year looked through that box for that thing, it needs to go. You know, another thing that has helped me, I was saying to someone, a lot of people have given me books and I just feel badly giving them away. Some of them are inscribed to me. And one day I said, and what if that person visits and then I don't have the book? And my friend said in reply, no one goes into other people's homes and looks through all their bookshelves looking for the book that they gave you in 1996 to see if you still have it. That has never happened in the history of the world. So let it go. Let it go. If you're done with that book, if that book came to offer you all it had to give, let it go. No one gets hurt. It's fine. I think there are many, many perspectives that we can bring to the spiritual work of accepting our relationship with material goods. God gave us a world to live in. We're made of the stuff of earth, and so it's not surprising that we are connected to the things that are here for us on this earth. But being too connected is being weighed down. So I'll give you one final listen to the wise words of Thomas Merton, the words that are working on me so much right now. Are you going to live the rest of your life carting around treasures from the past? Or are you going to live lightly so that it's clear that the real treasure is inside? May God bless you all.